Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy back with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said, in every episode, we've got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have Chloe Traicos with us today. She's an award-winning actress who plays Gloria Freeman on the comedy series The Righteous Gemstones alongside Danny McBride and John Goodman. She's starring in a new film called Introducing Jodea, billed as this year's answer to the classic Pretty Woman. The riotous rom-com explores how a struggling actress's fortunes change when a world-famous movie director drives into the back of her car.
And we're excited to talk to her about that and a little bit of her story and see where this goes. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So I always like to start the show out the same way. And we were talking a little bit about it beforehand, but last 18 months have been rough on a lot of people because of COVID. Yeah. So how has COVID affected what you do, and what have you done to maneuver through this the last 18 months?
Well, we were very lucky with shooting Jodea. We had we'd shot it all except for one shot when lockdown happened. And so it was perfect timing, because for editing, you don't need to worry about, social distancing. So the editor was able to work on it. The sound people were able to work on it. We were all working on it, communicating with each other online. And so that was what we did during lockdown. And towards the end of lockdown, we went and grabbed that one last shot, but the editor had pretty much edited it all except for the shot, which we then slipped in. And then, that was how we got through. It gave us something to do, something to concentrate on. Everyone was kind of grateful for that because it meant people were working. So the editor was working, the sound guys were working, the music composers were working. So we all had a job. They all had a job to do. I was looking at everything, and it was so that was how we coped. That kind of editing got us through.
That'd be horrifying watching the entertainment industry come to a halt, though.
Oh yeah, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. Yep. And I thank God that we shot our film when we did, because John, our director, who came out from Australia, he had a limited window in which we could shoot. We had to shoot it in 6 weeks. And so I just think, had lockdown happened at the start of that 6 weeks, I don't know what we would have done.
And Australia went through it worse than we did.
Oh yeah. My family are all there. So it's been horrible. Yep.
That's like for us, we started this show January 2020.
Oh, you did?
A couple months before COVID. And I remember our original plan was to do maybe 100 interviews our first year.
Yes.
And then COVID happens.
Oh, no.
And I'm sitting there like, this could be our time to shine, because again,
yes,
a lot of people in the entertainment industry are going to need a place to talk. And I was like, we're going to give it to them.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, thank God we live in the age we do with internet. And
right.
And because of that, we did over 300 interviews last year. This week we'll hit number 500.
We will.
Congratulations. Yeah. Good. That's wonderful.
So we just put the pedal to the metal.
We did.
And because if COVID would have happened 10 years ago, we couldn't have done any of this.
No, exactly. Right. And 20 years ago, forget it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also been a blessing in disguise on some things, because now people have learned how to do video and all that. So you're watching the new world. I think it's going to be where you're going to combine the real world with the video world.
Right. It's like, I joke that I've been doing nationwide interviews for my movie, but I've never left my living room.
Yes.
So, it's no, for sure. It is definitely more convenient in a lot of ways.
So what are some hobbies you like to do outside of being an actress and all that?
I love reading. That's my number one thing. And I love going to movies. And I'm so glad theaters are open again. Thank God.
What's your current book you're reading?
I'm reading several at the moment. Right now, I'm about to start. I just a thriller. I read true crime is my thing. I don't like crime fiction. I like stories about real serial killers and stuff. So I'm about to start a book about the Claremont serial killer, who's a serial killer in Australia. Who they only found him out about 5 years ago now. He killed girls back in the 1990s. It was a mystery for years. And so I'm actually really looking forward to reading that, because that was back when I was living in Australia when all that happened. So true crime is I love reading true crime. It's my thing.
Yeah, we love all that. We joked around that we should start a podcast for true crime because those seem to have the best numbers.
They do, don't they?
And it's so interesting. The stories.
It is interesting, and it's I mean, I used to read crime fiction, but after a while it got a bit dumb. Like they now try and make it like the least likely person is the killer, but true crime is really fascinating, and it's always interesting to read about how they catch the guys as well. I like that.
Exactly, because we would love to eventually do like Bonnie and Clyde type stories.
Since we're
a married couple, it would be really interesting.
Well, I gotta say, if you can get out to California now, they actually have there's an FBI exhibit on at the Reagan Library, and they actually have in there the actual car that Bonnie and Clyde were in. When they got caught, and it's covered in bullet holes. It's like I'm fascinated by that kind of thing. That just totally chilled me. But it was really pretty good exhibit, and
I will definitely
have to check that out when we're up there.
Yeah.
So as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory in what you do, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes, not just to be at your level and all that, but just a career within entertainment. I always want to talk about that because I think that it's one of the most misguided things out there. People think I've got talent, I can do this, and then they make that move to Hollywood or make that move to Nashville, and then they get eat up by everybody, by the industry. And I always want to talk about that side of it, the kind of the dirty side, of that. Hey, there's a lot of work that goes in. So tell us a little bit about the sacrifices and struggles you've had to go through to get to where you are today.
Sure. There is so much work, and this movie was a nightmare shoot. It really was. I mean, we shot it on zero budget, very, very tiny budget. And 4 days before we were due to shoot, both our production designer and our production manager pulled out.
Oh, wow.
And literally, so it was the hardest shoot I've ever done because the director, John Cohen, and myself, every night after we'd wrapped shooting, and when I should have been preparing my scenes for the next day and getting enough sleep, and he should have been doing the same, we were online. We were making sure we had enough extras. We were making sure we had the props. We were making sure we were doing all the stuff other people should have been doing. And it was a nightmare shoot. It really was. I mean, thank God we had an amazing team, but it was just, and so it's like, and John said to me, he said, it's film industry is survival of the fittest. It's kind of, if you can get through this, it means you can do anything. And so it's like, it is a really, really hard industry. And so people who go into it thinking, I want to be a star, I want to be rich, then I always say, if you want to be rich, become a lawyer, become a doctor, because this doesn't make you money. And it's also like when you're just starting out, you have to do this because you want to do it. You can't do it for any other reason. And
it's a passion.
It's a passion, and that's the only thing. And with me, there was absolutely nothing else. I have no plan B. This is what I'm doing. It's this or death. It's like it's kind of like, so when you see people who going out there and who are like for this we had they were, for some of the smaller roles, I wanted to cast the actors who I knew were just starting out, and I can't believe just the things they said. Like, for example, so one girl I offered a role to, I'd seen her act, she was very good, she has no credits on IMDb. And she told me, she came back to me, she said, no, she wouldn't do it because the director wasn't famous enough. And and I was like, okay, move on, next person waiting. Because the thing is, it's like there are a million people waiting to take your place, and you have to want to do it. And it's and then we shot a lot of it was shot out in Santa Clarita. And
because many of the shows, nobody thought, there was many shows out there that became a 10-year season, and nobody knew who they were at the beginning.
Of course. And it's also silly because if you're an actor just starting out, you need stuff for your reel, for goodness sake, so it's like, so, and then another person I offered a small role to, I said, we're shooting on Santa Clarita. He said, oh, that's too far for me. Can't you shoot closer? And I was like, no.
So you should move, not them.
The whole
It's just
the whole production.
I mean, it just like, so the story I tell is the first movie I ever shot, which was, I was still in film school, and I can remember I just wanted to be in a movie. So I called up every person who was doing directing in the school. I was like, I want to be in a movie. I want to be in a movie. I want to be in a movie. And so eventually this girl calls me back. She says, I have a friend directing a movie. You can play one of the leads. He hadn't even met me, which gives you an idea of how good the movie was. But so we shot that movie. It was a student film. We shot it Friday night and Saturday night because everyone was working during the week and had classes. And I didn't even have my driver's license in those days, but I had to be on set at 10:30 p.m. on Friday night. I don't remember how I got there, and I don't remember how I got home. I just know I did. And that's kind of just what you have to do. It's just, you just make sure you get there and you just do it. And you have to go out and you have to do whatever it takes. And it's,
make it work.
You talking about a while ago about the fierceness of it. It reminds me of a story that I love to tell. Like there's two guys in the woods and a bear approaches them. Yes. And one guy jumps down, tying his shoes. And the other guy looks at him and says, you can't outrun that bear. What are you doing? And he says, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you.
Oh, that's funny.
And ain't that really about, you just got to you just got to keep doing, you got to do what other people are not willing to do.
Right. It's like, it's like you have to put yourself out there and you have to, as I said, you have to want it, that you will do absolutely anything. It's so, as I said, that, the actors we got replacing, the people who didn't want to drive out Santa Clarita were phenomenal. And they, and they were literally prepared to do anything. And that's, you kind of have to, you absolutely have to, you have to want to do it because it is really hard. And you get the
best actors then that are willing to do whatever, because, one thing I've learned in life is when you got people that want things catered to them,
yes,
then they're going to want the whole show catered to them.
Yes.
And it's going to be nothing but issues and all that. Well, you get somebody else that's hungry for it.
Yes, absolutely. It's so true. And it's also like, even though, you get a job on something and even though it's not, what you want to be doing, you're going to meet people there. And so if you've got a project, you're going to be meeting like crew members and actors, and then you can say to them, hey, I've got this project, do you want to work on that? It's like, it's just so silly to say no to a project if you're offered something. And
that's like our show. We started day one not knowing what we're doing,
right?
Grassroots. And it was, I had some connections in Nashville. We did that and we just started, and now here it is, we're about to this week cross our 500 interview.
That's amazing. Congrats.
I would say we've learned a lot in that.
Oh, definitely.
And we never imagined having, to be honest with you, it was started out as a country music interview show.
Great.
And then when COVID happens, we kind of opened the door to the acting side, to athletes, to authors and stuff like that. Because we thought, let's open up to entertainment in general.
Yes, absolutely. Good for you. I think that's amazing.
And so we kind of owe COVID a little bit of the
silver lining.
Because again, we probably, if COVID didn't happen, we probably wouldn't have pivoted. But when COVID happened, I realized the whole entertainment industry needed to talk.
Right. It's like, you need to look for opportunities in bad things, which is what COVID was. Look for, that's fantastic.
And what's funny is when we first opened it up last year to actors, we end up the very first actor that we got on the show. Now I think we've had other ones that were musicians and actors together. That was a little different.
Right.
But
before that,
the first actor that we got on the show ended up being Ed Asner.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Fantastic.
He was amazing. He was 91 at the time before he unfortunately passed.
And so we don't know if we were the last interview, but we were at least one of the last interviews he did.
That's incredible. Wow. That's so that's amazing.
So you just never and then like you were saying, you got to take the jobs you may not like. And there are days where I get up to where I don't feel like doing the show. But you know what? The show must go on.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Always. And it's like, no, and I respect you guys so much for doing it. I think it's wonderful. You have to follow your passion.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's
so we talked a little bit about the sacrifice. So let's flip the script and go the other way. What are a few moments where you're like, wow, that happened, or wow, I got a few wow moments?
I think it was when I first saw my first film review for this, which I was, we were just getting it out there, and I showed it to I was showing it to various people for feedback. And then one girl who I didn't know at all, I met her on Twitter. She loved it. And she said, let me show this to this guy. He's got a huge following on Twitter. He's a film critic. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. And the guy contacted me out of the blue and he says, here's the review I wrote. And I was too scared to read it. And then it was like, it was introducing Jodea lights up the screen with my favorite movie of the year. And it was like, it was the most amazing review. And I was like, so pleased. I was like, oh, wow, that was just, and then we kept getting really good reviews. That was like, that was feeling like payback. It was so, it was amazing. It was really, that was fantastic. It was,
it's funny. We were just talking about, the sacrifices and struggles it takes to make it in the artist world and acting world. That's kind of what your role was, wasn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very true. It is very, very true. It was, making it in the film industry, the film within the film. But it was just, but I mean, for the oh wow moments on set, there were a few of those. We shot some fantastic scenes. A lot of the actors were, especially Ryan, who played Harold, was fantastic. Just had very, he improvised a lot of his scenes, and that was hilarious. It was wonderful working with him. So it was, no, I mean, as I said, on set, we, had some terrific experiences, but I think that the thing is when you realize, okay, we worked so hard on this film and people are actually liking it, which was that was huge. Yep.
So, as you know, a lot of people, they see you, but they don't see the team behind you. In our opinion, the teams never get the love they deserve.
I agree.
So take a few moments to tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Right. So John, who directed, was the main person. He's amazing. He literally is. I've worked with him on 3 other projects. I always call him my rock, because he is such a stable figure and such a good calming influence. He's an amazing director. He's just never gets frazzled or hysterical or yells or anything like that. And he always manages to keep it light and funny. And he was amazing. We had a wonderful DP, a guy called Dave, who was out here from Austria and who wasn't able to, he's an amazing DP over there, but because no one knew who he was here, he went back to film school. So we were lucky. We got him when he was just out of film school and was prepared to work for a fraction of what we would have got him had he, now I don't think I could afford him. And he was an amazing, very talented man. And then there was Lou Pizarro, who was my one producer, who was amazing, who I met on the set of another movie, and I really liked him. I liked his go-getter attitude. I asked him if he wanted to produce this with me, and he was fantastic. Like everything I needed. I'd say, Lou, I need a mansion. Got you a mansion. I know who to talk to. Lou, I need a film studio. Oh, I know. Yeah, he knew everyone, and he knew how to negotiate. So it was, those were the main ones who were just just incredible behind it, behind the scenes, got things happening. And then Lou had a friend, Jeremy, who came on board as a producer, and he was also fantastic in just getting everything organized. So so we were very lucky. We did have a fantastic crew, and it's true. It's like people don't, I mean, my husband's really good. He every time we go see a movie at the theaters, he will stay until the very last credit is shown, because he said we have to acknowledge all the crew members who were there. And it's true, because people don't realize, yes, this films have an editor, and films, it's
they see the stars, but they don't see the behind the stars.
And the hard work that goes behind the scenes, and the guys behind the scenes work so hard. It's really, they really do absolutely everything.
I think this past year and a half has actually showed people a little bit, because now all of a sudden the essential workers become the heroes.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So, you're talking about, teams. We have a third co-host,
yes,
our little 9-year-old that
his name is Christopher.
He comes on and asks a few questions. So Sandy's gonna go get him real quick.
Yes, I'll get him.
And we've got
you got 2 Chris's?
Yep, me and him. It's Chris.
Wow.
Yep. And then we've got a almost 3-year-old little daughter that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into the show too, because we are a family affair.
That's so cool. I love that.
So, we got to do it as a family, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And 3-year-olds can bring a lot of entertainment.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
If we can guide her into doing right, next year we'll be plugging her in.
Yes, absolutely. Or like, that could be a lot of fun.
And little Chris, he wants to start his own podcast, so we told him next summer we'll launch something for him.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chloe. So, what's your favorite food?
So sorry?
What's your favorite food?
Food.
But what's my favorite food? Oh my God. Definitely ice cream.
Ooh, you love ice cream.
What's yours?
Mine's pizza.
I love pizza too. But
He did it all. In fact, we had it last night.
Nice. And how old are you, Chris?
I am 9.
Wow, great. So you in 3rd grade?
4th grade.
4th grade. Yeah, cool, great. And are you? What? Do you go to school or do you do?
He's homeschooled.
I'm homeschooled.
I think homeschool's the best. I have another friend in Georgia who homeschooled all her kids, and they are so amazingly intelligent. I think it's the best way.
And the great thing about homeschool is, every child is different. So you can cater the learning to how they need to learn.
Exactly. It's very, it's just, I agree 100%. And it's good. I wish I'd been homeschooled, but a
lot of the young actors and actresses that we bring on are all homeschooled.
Yes, yeah, it's good. I think it's really good, and I also it's just I do also think that I think that it gives kids more opportunity and to learn a whole lot more.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
All right. What's your favorite TV show?
Oh, that's a hard one. My favorite show, I am you got to understand, I'm a little behind TV shows. So I'm kind of like, well, let's say 20, 30 years behind the TV show. So my husband has got me into TV shows, is just getting me into shows like, so I started only watching Cheers. That was big in the 80s recently. I love it. And now I'm addicted to Frasier, which is another 90s comedy, which I love. What's your favorite TV show?
Mine's SpongeBob.
Oh, SpongeBob's great.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that they still do new ones.
Yes. No, it is good.
And, it's been really amazing having this show because, he watches a lot of Nickelodeon and Disney shows now. And we've been able to bring on a lot of people from those shows for him to talk to.
Oh, that is amazing. And Chris, who have you talked to? Who's your favorite person you've talked to?
I don't know.
He loves them all.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because who have you talked to?
Some of your favorites.
Yeah.
Ava Coker.
Yeah.
Allie Brooke.
Yes. Some of them.
He won't name.
He won't say anything specific.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yes. All right. So what's your favorite movie?
I have a lot of favorite movies. What is my favorite movie is a very old film that you may not have heard of called My Fair Lady.
Oh, yes, a classic.
Classic,
a musical. Yep.
What's crazy is with Sandy and I at our age now, we start hearing them talk about classic music, and we're like, that's not classic. That's our generation,
Like 90s,
right.
Like 80s and 90s music. Now they're calling classic. We're like,
oh
okay,
yeah,
now.
That's hilarious. Funny.
And what's yours?
Mine's the Minions movie.
Oh, the Minions movie. Yes, I've seen that. They're so cute. I love the Minions.
Yeah, and Caitlin loves them little things. We could be walking in the mall, and if she sees one in a store, we have to go in.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's so cute. It's yeah.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. So nice meeting you.
He loves to be on the show. He's been on almost every one.
So he's so good.
He appreciates that.
Cool. He's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's developed a lot of confidence in him, which has been very good for him.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. He's a sweetheart. I really like. Yeah.
So if you could co-star with any actor or actress, who would it be and what role would you want to play?
If I could co-star with any actor or actress, that's, there's so many. Let me think. I would love to act with Angelina Jolie.
That'd be a
She's
good one.
amazing. Yes.
But I don't know. I haven't thought about what role I would like to play with her. It's because it would have to be. I don't know. Maybe we could play sisters. That would be
Ooh, yes.
yeah.
Maybe True Crime Sisters.
Yes, actually,
Oh,
that would
even
be
better.
really good. A murder. Yeah, we could be a crime sister couple. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
Instead of Bonnie and Clyde, it would be y'all as sisters.
Yes, that's I like that idea. That's actually I might write that. Yep.
Yes. I'd love to see that.
That would be awesome. So what this probably has 1,000 answers too, but what show have you seen or movie that you wish you played a role in?
Oh, there's I actually saw House of Gucci the other night with Lady Gaga. And I would absolutely have loved to have played her role. She was phenomenal. I don't know if I could have done such a good job, but it was such a great role. If you haven't seen it, I fully recommend seeing it.
I will definitely have to
It's out
check
at
it
the
out.
moment. Yeah, it's very, very good. Yeah.
Yes. And what are some sources of inspiration for you?
Oh, I think there's so many. There's so many sources of inspiration. I like movie wise, book wise. There's so many. I'm trying to think right now. I love. I mean, obviously, My Fair Lady is a source of inspiration with writing Jodea,
Yes.
as you probably
Right.
saw.
Mhm.
I think I think I get very inspired by people who don't give up and keep continuing
yes.
even when things are really bad. And
that's why my favorite movie is Rudy.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
Underdog.
The underdog
yes,
one.
that's it. Yes, I love that. It was there. Actually, I watched the Being the Ricardos movie last night with about Lucille Ball.
Oh,
wow.
yes, yeah.
It's an excellent movie, and Nicole Kidman, who plays Lucille Ball, is amazing. But I wasn't aware of this, but apparently, apparently, like just before they did I Love Lucy, they canceled her contract. They said she was and so that I like stories like that with people stories like that inspire me. People who've been told there's nothing more you can do, you're gone, and then they do.
And then that's like I remember a few years ago, Luke Combs, big country artist now.
Yes,
he sent out a tweet and he said, for all the executives out there, thank you for saying none of my songs would never work, because all 6 did. At that
good
time.
for him. Yes, I love that. That's so well, even with Jodea, the movie, I got told when we started off, we were going to go for a name actor as the star, and it just was it was the catch-22 situation, because we had money. If there was money involved, if we could get a name, but no name would get involved with me because I wasn't famous. So eventually it got to the stage where I had to actually just say, look, I don't want to get to the stage where people are going to tell me I'm too old to be in my own movie. And so we slashed the budget and we shot it. And I was told by the guy who was our line producer when we were going to go big budget, I said, look, we're going to shoot this on less than 100K. And he said, oh, that's impossible. You would never be able to do that. And I've sent him a finished version of it. I haven't heard back from him, but I just kind of said, just so you know, we did that. We've now got a distributor. We did all these festivals and got all these awards. But yeah, he said it's impossible. You can't shoot it on less than $1 million or whatever. And so that's kind of So I'm kind of glad that we actually did that.
And my whole life I've been told I couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And we married.
Same here.
I mean, we married 19 years ago. And we met online, so of course everybody said that would never work.
Oh no, that does work. I'm all for, because online is when you cut out a lot of the garbage, because
that's true.
That's all we had was the phone back then.
Yes, and that's I think I actually know so many people who've met online and are now happily married.
But see, back in 2002, it was taboo.
Right, it was.
Early days.
We met in the early days of meeting online.
Right, and now it's the in thing, because now it's like it's so because you can meet someone in your everyday life, get involved, and then you want to get married, but they don't, and it's kind of you waste years. now everyone does that. So yeah, good for you. I love that.
And then nobody really knew who we were. So we were told when we launched this show that nobody would ever come on your show. It could never work.
Oh,
and here it is. This year has been, it's been crazy.
Well, I think the people who say that are people who things like that are people who fail themselves, and they just don't want to. They kind of just don't want other people to succeed. I really think that it's like, yeah, your show will never take off. It's they people who either are too scared to do things, or they've done things and failed and are just too scared, and so they have to put you down. Those are the people who say the things like that. So it's
I remember I was listening to an audio years ago, and they said there's 4. If I remember correctly, hopefully I get this right, but there's like 4 phases of that, where first they tell you it won't work.
Yes.
Then they tell you it won't last.
Yes.
Then they tell you were lucky.
Yes.
And then finally, the last phase is they're telling everybody how they always knew you'd make it.
Exactly. It's so true. It is so true. It's like, it's hilarious. And it's, the hypocrisy of it all. Yeah.
Yes.
It's, no, and I think, and then I think that's, I think you guys are amazing for doing it. And it's just, you have to just go follow your passion and not listen to what other people tell you.
Exactly.
And you have to take that chance too, where you don't know. Because, when we launched this show, January 3rd of 2002, so we're almost 2 years.
Yes.
I didn't know, I knew that she loved country music.
Yes.
And she's a big music fan. I love to talk. I thought, hey, great. We can talk and play into her love of music.
And I love entertainment overall.
Yeah,
so
but I didn't realize that I remember getting off the first episode, and we actually had 2 interviews that very first day. And I remember getting off, and I told Sandy, I found that passion. This is what I know we're supposed to do.
Exactly. And that's wonderful. I love that. It's just, I admire people who follow their passion no matter what. It's so, I've met so many people who have admitted to me that they'd always wanted to be actors, but their parents had told them not to, and they got the boring day job, and they regret it now. And it's, so I think it's I think
that's like I've got friends who, and this is why I always try to tell parents, don't ever shade your child.
Yes.
If they want to do something that maybe you don't agree with, because I've got friends of mine that, they've been 15, 20 years on their career now, and they're miserable. And you sit down and talk to them, and you're like, how can you be miserable? You got this great lifestyle, you got this great family, you got this great career. And then they're like, well, the career is kind of the problem. And I'm always like, what do you mean the career is the problem? You went to all this years of schooling for this. And they're like, oh, well, I kind of, it was my friends, my family, my guidance counselor, whoever said, no, what I really want to do could never work. You need to find what money is. And now they're miserable.
I know, it's so true. And I think part of you kind of have to be really stubborn. You kind of like, and I know I am really stubborn. And that's like, my dad, for example, wanted me to be a lawyer. He always says, because he says, I'm good at arguing.
That would work.
And I never ever gave in. And he's now we just got the news the other day that Introducing Jodea, we got distribution with Gravitas, who are a major American distributor, and now I just found out that we got international distribution with Myriad Pictures, who are huge. And so my dad, so when my dad congratulated me, I said, yes, Dad, it pays off to be stubborn, because it's like he wanted me to be, he would just like, he's now finally accepted this is what I'm doing. But it's,
you should write a script where you're an attorney, and then you can say, okay, I made it.
I would love to do that. I would love to play an attorney, and it's like it's so, and I do actually have it. I have actually written a legal drama which I would like to get made. But I think it's so I think to follow your dream, you kind of have to have a belief in yourself, a belief in what you believe in, to the extent where you can actually, and the thing is also, when you asked me, going back to what you said earlier about the hard part of this industry, is you get put down a lot with everything. Like you constantly get knocked back by agents, by producers, by everything. It's like people will always tell you that you're not good enough. And so if you're going to be the type to go away and cry and get your confidence destroyed, this is the wrong industry for you. You kind of have to believe in yourself enough to say, no, to hell with it. I know I'm good enough. So
yes.
You kind of, as I said, I'm very stubborn. I think that's why I lasted in this business. You can't do it if you don't believe in yourself.
Exactly.
And what would you like for your legacy to be in the entertainment industry? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
That's a good one. I would like to make movies that change the way people think about certain things, and so so I would like to make movies that make people see things a different way, that that are going to be pretty, that are going to make people question things they were always taught.
And isn't that how you got started?
Yeah. But it's also, I think definitely, it's really good if people, I would like to make movies that quote unquote educate people, but not in a way where you're ramming your ideas down their throats, in a way that makes them think. And like some movies that I think of great movies that have changed the way I've thought about things, like just thinking courtroom dramas now. A Few Good Men is one of them. And that was
a good one.
Spectacular the way that was. And I think I think movies that do that can change the way you think about things. I think that I would like to do that. I would like to have my legacy live on by knowing that people.
And I love the part in that movie where the guy tries to break him, and he says, "Why won't you quit? Why won't you quit?" He finally breaks down and says, "I have nowhere else to go."
Yes, it's it's a phenomenally brilliant movie, and it's
ain't that how the entertainment industry is? You got to have nowhere else to go, like you said. You have no plan B.
Yep, I have no plan B. It's so you have, it's this, or it's like, it's just, you've just got to keep doing this. It's so you just, it's like, it's just what I mean. And other people say to me when I got to say, I love talking to you guys because you don't ask the standard questions I'm normally asked. But one of the questions I'm always asked is, when did you decide you wanted to act? Now my answer is
the question I usually ask, and I actually forgot, was that I always like to go where not necessarily when did you want to act, but when did it click that it could be a career?
And my answer is when I was about 3 or 4 years old. Once I was old enough to work out that the people I was watching on videos were acting, that's what I wanted to do, because that's what I did all the time. I was always in an imaginary world. And and now, unlike a lot of kids who grow out of it, I stayed in that world, and I just continue to always be creating something in my mind. So so
who says you got to grow up, right?
Right, exactly. So there was that was, so I just, there was never another option for me. That was what I wanted to do for as long as I can remember.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And if you could say anything to your fans and followers, what would you want to tell them?
Oh, thank you for being my fans and followers. It's wonderful. I hope you really like the movie and can be inspired by it, and just follow your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you can't do what you want to do.
And that's really the purpose of our show. When you really narrow it down, the different people that we bring on, is our goal is where people who are watching, listening, if one person can look at the show and say, you know what, I can go try to live my dream because what I heard.
I'm inspired now.
Yes.
That's the purpose of this show, because I want people to show that, look, everybody we bring on is human just like they are.
Yes, absolutely.
They just didn't quit.
Yes, it's so true. It's like you just don't. I mean, you see things like, when you see an actor in a movie who you've never heard of before, and you're like, wow, they were amazing, and you look them up and you're like, oh wow, they've been around for ages. They did that, and it's like, it's not like, you look at most actors who get anywhere, or most directors, and they don't just suddenly make it. It's like they've been at it for ages, and they've been working hard, and they've had to go through failure after failure, and so
Well, what's the overnight success? 10 years in the making.
Yes, exactly. But the thing I have noticed with the people who do make it overnight, literally they don't last because it's not something they fought for. If you are someone who just gets picked up and put in a leading role, it's often that's often the case. It's just it's so it's it's the people who want to be here have worked really hard to be there. It's
that's like they call Nashville the 10-year city, because the average artist that does make it big who moves to Nashville, it takes 10 years and beyond of them living in Nashville before all of a sudden they blow up.
Yes, absolutely. It is. It's hard. It's very, it is. It's you kind of have to go there, and it doesn't matter what you've done in the city you were in previously, you've got to kind of start from scratch. It's right. It's very true.
But if it's your passion, you should want to do that. And if you quit within a year or two, then it really probably wasn't your passion.
It wasn't your passion. Exactly. It's so true. It's so and it's like that with anything. It's just if you
nothing wrong with quitting if it's not your passion. You don't need, again, the entertainment world takes that special person that has to be able to jump through all the hoops. And if it's not your passion, you don't need to be in it.
Exactly. I mean, as I said, you have to want it, and you have to not. It's like you have to not care about it's like, as I said earlier, if you're doing it for money, you're in the wrong job. I mean, when I was just starting out, I had a job in Sydney, and I just made my documentary on Zimbabwean refugees, and it made one of the film festivals in New York, and I was nominated for an award. And so I said to my boss, I'm going over to New York. I've got and they were like, well, fine, but then don't come back. You're fired. And I was like, to hell with that. I didn't, I'm not a telemarketer. This is what I do for a day job. I'm a filmmaker. I'll go to New York and I'll worry about getting a new job when I get back, and it's kind of, and a lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people would be like, oh, my boss is going to fire me. I'm going to stay with my job. But I never did that. It was just, it was like, I'm making a movie. If my boss at the time said, well, you can't take time off, I'd be like, sorry, goodbye. It's just, you kind of have to, your passion's got to come first before everything else.
That's like Tyler Perry tells a story about the exact same thing. Is every time he felt led to where he had to do his play each year, and he felt like God was telling him it's time, and then his boss would fire him, and then it would flop.
Oh yes,
nobody would show up.
Yes,
and then the next year, same thing happened. He felt like he was supposed to do it. Nothing. And he did that for 7 years.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, one day when he was ready to quit, there was a line out the door.
Yep. It's like, I mean, and I respect him I like him a lot. He's like, I think he's an incredible person, and some of his speeches that he's made have just been totally amazing. But I like him even more after hearing that. It's what
you should look it up on, just put in Tyler Perry's story and on YouTube, and you'll find him telling parts of his story. And it's just like Steve Harvey has an amazing story where he almost quit right before he got the Apollo job.
Right. It's no, I think stories like that are so inspiring, and it's just, you can't. I love hearing things like that.
So as we start to close out here, let's say you got a friend of yours and they are ready to dive in here. They know that they're called to act. They're good at what they do. So what advice would you give that specific person to kind of help guide them the next couple years?
I would tell him pretty much what I've said, which is like, you have to believe in yourself. Don't expect to get an agent right away. Don't expect to get a job right away. Expect to be knocked back. Don't expect, don't get disillusioned when you get knocked back from auditions, and start doing your own stuff, because as a way, you can't just start out with nothing, because when you get an agent, they're going to want to see a reel. So put together a little short film, do something. And just, you just have to go out there and you just have to do it. And again, and when you get a job, even if it's not paid, even if it's with unknown people, take it, so that's just pretty much what I'd say is just, you have to go out there, you have to do it. And, don't expect fame or money to arrive right away.
Yep, love that. So as we end here, tell everybody how they can find you and find your movie.
Yes.
Sure. Well, you can find Introducing Jodea is on Amazon, and it's on iTunes, and it's on YouTube. And yes, it's just now those are the main. I mean, it's on Google Play, the other channels. We're going on Netflix in February. And but right now the main ones, iTunes and Amazon, YouTube, Vimeo, Google Play. So yeah, you can find us on any of those.
Great.
Love that. Awesome. And we really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we definitely look forward to having you back.
Thank you. I hope to be back.
This was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You have a
great
day.
Thanks so much for your time today.
Have a great day. Have a great week.
You too.
All right, you too.